Lake Lagarfljót lies in eastern Iceland. This 25-kilometer body of water is constantly supplied by the flow of glacial rivers from the Vatnajökull mountains. Due to this, vast amounts of silt are fed directly into the lake, turning the water murky and reducing visibility. Hidden in these depths lies one of the most well-known legends in Icelandic folklore. The Lagarfljót Worm has terrified inhabitants for centuries, earning a reputation as a bad omen and rumoured to be responsible for the deaths of both animals and humans. The Lagarfljót Worm is said to be huge, serpent-like, and ancient, with tales of the creature dating back centuries and continuing into the modern day. The earliest mention of the creature was in the 1345 Icelandic annals, known as the Skálholts Annálls. Here it was described as having multiple humps, rising from the water separated by hundreds of fathoms, a fathom being a maritime measurement roughly 6 feet in length. The most interesting detail in this account was that no head or tail was seen. Bishop Guðbrandur Þorláksson mentioned the creature on his 1585 map. On it, he wrote in Latin, "In this lake there is a serpent of unusual size, harmful to the inhabitants, and appears when some notable or memorable changes are impending," suggesting sightings of the creature were seen as a bad omen. This belief was reinforced in the early 17th century. In his 1638 essay on the natural history of Iceland, known as Oddsson's De Mirabilibus Islandiae, Bishop Gísli Oddsson mentioned the Lagarfljót Worm, stating that it had been responsible for rivers overflowing and for houses shaking. Following this, alleged sightings continued to be made, including a claim in 1963 by Theodor Blunda, the head of the Icelandic National Forest Service. However, it wasn't until 1983 that evidence supporting the creature's existence was provided. Whilst installing telephone cables, contractors had used a false wire to measure the depths of the lake. When they pulled the wire out of the lake, it had been damaged in multiple places. Contractors later said this cable, that was specially engineered so it wouldn't kink, was wounded in several places and badly torn and damaged in 22 different places. I believe we dragged the cable directly over the belly of the beast, unless it was through its mouth. Word of the creature became so well known that in 1997, the former mayor of Österhjara, or the Eastern District, promised a reward to anyone who presented authentic evidence of its existence. Alleged sightings continued to be reported, including a claim in 1998 by a teacher and a group of students from Hjörtur School near the lake's edge. They claimed to have seen something moving in the water. The Lagarfljót Worm entered the media in 2012 when local resident Hjörtur Kjerúlf claimed to have recorded the creature in one of the glacial rivers that flow into the Lagarfljót Lake. The recording went viral, with over 8 million views, and resulted in film crews flying in to search the lake. The video was shot in early February through his window and seemed to capture a moving object in one of the glacial rivers that feed into the lake. Independent researchers examined the footage and came to the conclusion that there was a rational explanation of the movement, suggesting it could have simply been glacial ice or a trapped fishing net. Meanwhile, in Iceland, a local municipality set up a truth commission to analyse the video themselves. The commission came to the conclusion that the video was authentic footage of the Lagarfljót Worm. As a result of this decision, Hjörtur Kjerúlf was rewarded 500,000 Icelandic krona, or £3,300, from the prize fund the former mayor had set up in 1997. He was also said to have received a further 50,000 Icelandic krona for the tourism generated from his video. Despite the conclusion from the Truth Commission, debate still continued online, with some claiming it was clear footage of the worm, and others claiming it was a trapped stationary object flowing due to the current. This directly relates to a possible explanation for what people are actually seeing, with some people believing the Lagarfljót Worm is actually a natural creation, like floating ice, sediment, or fishing nets moving in the water that have been mistaken for a creature due to the poor visibility of the lake. Others have theorised that the worm could be an ordinary creature, like a lizard, that was misidentified. However, it is said that there are no matching creatures in this part of Iceland. It has even been suggested that the Lagarfljót Worm could have been a prehistoric animal that has survived to modern times. The final theory is that the legend was created from local storytelling. Jón Arnason, a museum director, author and librarian, collected folklore tales, One such tale was explained to him in 1845 by a schoolgirl. She told him that a young girl had placed a worm on top of a golden ring, in the hopes that as the worm grew, the ring would grow with it and increase the value. However, when she returned home, she realised the worm's size had dramatically increased, resulting in her throwing both the ring and the worm into the Lagarfljót Lake. Surprisingly, despite the enormous attention from the viral 2012 footage, the Lagarfljót Worm remains in relative obscurity outside of local circles, with only occasional visits from the media and investigators. Whether the Lagarfljót Worm is a prehistoric remnant of the past, a natural formation, or a tale that has survived centuries, whatever is hidden below the murky waters remains one of Iceland's most prominent legends. If you'd like to investigate another unexplained case with me, I'll see you in the next file.